Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to continue talking about bandsaws and compact bandsaws. So for today, we're going to go over this model right here, the Flex 24 volt brushless compact bandsaw, which runs on their 24 volt platform. Model number is FX2331. And this one is available as a tool only. We did purchase this with our own money. This is not sponsored. Nobody sent this to us. And it is pretty much almost in the same class as the one reviewed in the episode before this, which is the DeWalt Atomic 20 volt Max Compact series. And this one, I believe you can get it as a kit for maybe about $169 or something like that. On sale, right, obviously. So they're, very much comparable in their compact models. So we're going to go over this tool top to bottom and then do a small comparison and comparing it to pretty much this one and figure out, which one should you get, which ones are important, which features are important to you. There are some things you probably do not want to miss because, there's a lot of things between these two tools that one of them may do a little bit better. So if you want to know more about it, stick with us. All right, so let's just jump right into it. First of all, this right here is the bandsaw, and it is brushless. There's an LED light right here that comes on right there. We don't have the battery plugged in. Obviously, this is a very dangerous tool. The Allen key is right here in case you did need to take it off to remove it, to adjust this tool plate, right? So you could adjust it up or down. There's a little bit of adjustment space on that. It's got a nice little handle that sticks out pretty hefty right here. So you can definitely get a good grip, although I would say it's kind of big for a compact bandsaw, but that is what it is. This right here is your rotator lock on tension adjustment thing. So, if you want to flip the blade on, you pull it down, it'll reduce the tension or move the wheel over so that way you can get the blade on. Getting the blade on is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Nothing that makes it too easy or too different than all the other ones. Obviously, the handle is right here. Pretty standard flex handle. If you've used flex tools, it's going to be right up the alley. Single finger trigger, and it's got a safety switch which you have to engage this way or this way, and it works either way for the safety. So like I said, 24 volt, and this one has a rafter hook right here, which can go into technically 2 positions, but really only 1 position, mainly because how are you going to hook it on anything here? That doesn't even make sense, right? So you can only really use it in this position, or you can really store it away, right? So 24 volt brushless. Other than that, on the back side, you don't have anything too much further going up on here. No frills, no thrills. It'll say FX2331 model, and this has a speed of up to 590 SFPM, all right? So if one thing we didn't point out already on here is that there is no variable speed dial as you see in the DeWalt model, but we'll get into the comparison about that. But just want to point out that it's not that we skipped it, it's just doesn't exist, right? So if you want to go over and talk about replacing the blade, this is the business part of the tool. All plastic. It's pretty standard plastic. This part obviously is metal. It's a pretty thick metal, which is definitely a little bit better than the thin metal that is kind of stamped onto the DeWalt side. So this one is a little bit unique. It doesn't use the 2 latch levers. It actually uses this plate here, this plate here, and you can open it pretty quickly. So if you get annoyed with those latching things, which I definitely do with the DeWalt one, then this is obviously better. But how often are you really changing the blade or making an adjustment inside here? So that's something to think about, all right? So as you can see here, it's got 2 big wheels, one right here, one right here. It's pretty standard. It's got the rollers exactly where you need them to be. Bottom rollers here, bottom top rollers there, bottom top rollers there. It's also got a bearing roller on the bottom of where this bandsaw blade goes, okay? So that's pretty standard. It's got a little brush right here to reduce the brush shavings going back into the wheel. But like I said, there's nothing too special about this. But I do want to point out one difference, or maybe a few differences between this one and the DeWalt Atomic one, is that this one actually has a roller right here. Not sure if you can see it very well, where the blade bottom goes, right? So the DeWalt one actually doesn't have one right there. And I'm not sure if I've actually seen one that has a roller right there, but this one does. So that is one nice touch that they do have. And also this plate, this main metal part right here, feels like it's almost aluminum or maybe magnesium. But the point is that it's metal. Okay, the outer parts right here is obviously plastic, but this part, the main chassis of it, seems to be metal, and that is really nice because as you'll see when we get into the DeWalt one, it's built a little bit differently, right? So let's go ahead and look at the DeWalt one here real quick. I know we reviewed this previously. It's got all the same stuff right here. It's got a tracking adjustment knob there. It's got the LED right here too. This one has the rafter hook on this side, right? You know, it's only got one position, but like I said, you can only really use it in one position. But the important thing is that the rafter hook is almost always on the opposite side of the battery, which is by design, mainly because the battery side is going to be heavy. So rafter hook here, batteries here. On the Flex, obviously the battery goes up here, right? And the rafter hook is down there. So the design itself is pretty different, but really getting into the business part of it, this right here is the lever that I'm talking to you that, you know, a lot of people may get annoyed about. So if you look at this part right here, you can see this part here is plastic, right? There is a metal part right here that may be on the bottom part or on the inside or behind this plastic maybe, right? You can kind of tell. We're not going to take this whole tool apart to figure out if that's true or not, but I would imagine the important part, the chassis part of the tool that holds the shape is going to be metal because, you know, that would be a lot of strain on plastic and it would probably wear out and not be heavy duty enough. But just wanted to point out, at least on the inside part of the tool is plastic, okay? The other thing to point out, as I mentioned earlier, is that you see right here for DeWalt, they really just have a metal plate with a screw on it. There is no roller, okay? The rollers here are obviously, the wheels are, you know, plastic with the rubber right here on the inside, but those are two really big differences I noticed between the two immediately. The other thing, as I point out on here, is that this little piece of metal is a very thin, I don't want to say super thin, but it is a little bit thinner than the other one on the Flex, but this one has that little flange type, I forgot what you call it, a rollover right here that makes it a little bit, you know, nicer and not as rough when you're using it, right? Just in case your hand hit it real quick while you were not even using it. You can tell right here, you know, that one is just a little bit nicer, but this one I would expect to be more heavier duty. So as I mentioned, that's the two biggest things to point out on here. The other thing to point out on here is, you know, this latch system. Some people will get, you know, annoyed with it, but you know, how often, like I said, are you changing the blades on this thing? Probably not that often. So you know, that's how that goes. The other thing to point out on here is obviously the shear size. So if you look right here, this is the size of the DeWalt. If I stand it up right here, you can see the size of the Flex is a lot larger. It's a lot longer, and the handle sticking up is obviously a lot bigger. So, you know, if you're talking about pure compact sizeness, you're going to be probably saying that DeWalt here is the winner. And it also has the variable speed dial and the variable speed trigger. Let's go ahead and show you the variable speed on the Flex. So here you go. Let's put the battery in right here. Right, here you go. Right? So it does have a variable speed trigger, but does not have a dial to go along with it. So you're gonna need to be master of your variable speed trigger. All right, so that's what you really get with this Flex tool. And just give you a better show in comparison in case you didn't see it very well because of the angle, this is the length difference, right? And obviously the size, you can probably see it a little bit better right here. Ultra compact. This DeWalt Atomic Series is going to be the winner. Obviously, the blade sizes are going to be different because the DeWalt is a bit shorter, but I haven't actually tried to look for replacement blades on the Flex yet. Maybe we'll go ahead and do that and see if there are better or additional blades available and how common they are so that when you need it, it's not a struggle to find them, right? So with the DeWalt ones, like I said, you can just buy a bunch on Amazon, which you've already bought and replaced, so that works pretty well. But the point is this a good tool? Would we buy it again? This, I believe, is a great tool. It's definitely smaller than their deep cut or even the DeWalt deep cut or the Milwaukee deep cut one, so it's smaller, it's one-handed easier, right? This one is also one-handed easier, but obviously this is definitely more one-hand designed. This one is actually technically designed with 2 hands, right? So this, you can technically take this off and use it in 1 hand. So that's obviously an option, but you know, it gets a little bit bigger, right? So the point is, would I go out and buy this tool again? The answer is, if I need a compact bandsaw, yes, we'd probably definitely get it again, mainly because, like I said, the cost comparison is nice. This tool, I believe, like I said, is you could probably get on clearance for about $199 or maybe even just a little bit less, which is a good deal for a battery-powered bandsaw. And a lot of people know sometimes you need to bring the tool to the material. Sometimes you can bring the material to the tool. This compact type of bandsaw is where you take the tool to the material, obviously, right? So there's a huge benefit to that, and using 1 hand overhead, sideways, whatever, there's a huge market for that, and we've definitely used a lot of this one. So we've gotten buy it again. The answer is definitely a yes, but the question is, should you buy it, right? And only you can answer that question, mainly because you know what you need. Not everybody works the same way. So hopefully these videos helped you guys out. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, have a great day. If you're trying to get this, happy hunting to get it on clearance. See you guys next time.